All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating roadmap laid out by futurist Starr called the Off-World Blueprint. What we're going to see is how the multi-trillion-dollar space economy of 2026 is moving far, far beyond simple rocketry and geopolitical posturing. We are looking at the absolute next frontier of cross-industry commercial infrastructure.
Right off the bat, Starr hits the nail on the head with his concept, and it brilliantly illustrates our core thesis today. Space is no longer just a destination for elite scientific research. It's an active construction zone. We're actually entering the era of building a true off-planet civilization, which is a massive, massive shift in how we need to think about our future.
So here's the off-world blueprint we'll be following today. First, the cosmic paradigm shift. Then, orbiting data centers. Third, the space elevator era. Fourth, orbital real estate. And finally, your off-world strategy.
Starting with Section 1, the cosmic paradigm shift.
Let's move right into Section 2, orbiting data centers.
To build any civilization, you need a bedrock, right? Well, today, that bedrock is data. Down here on Earth, our terrestrial data centers are hitting a wall. They're severely energy constrained, they rack up huge cooling costs, and they create massive latency bottlenecks, because we literally have thousands of satellites beaming petabytes of data down to Earth just to process it and beam it back up. But in low Earth orbit, you've got abundant solar energy, a natural vacuum for effortless cooling, and absolutely zero geopolitical border constraints. We are essentially escaping Earth's energy crises just to build more efficient servers in space.
So, what does this actually do for us? By processing data in situ, which is basically edge computing directly in space, we drastically reduce the latency for global communications. This rapid processing is what's going to support all our complex autonomous systems and future orbital operations. In essence, these orbiting data centers form the invisible grid powering all off-world commerce. They are the digital scaffolding that the whole shebang relies on. Which brings us to Section 3, the space elevator era.
Once that orbital data infrastructure matures, we face the next big logistical leap, moving physical mass. The crucial point here is a massive drop in cargo costs. Right now, even with reusable rockets, we're fundamentally limited by the physics of the gravity well. Burning explosive chemical fuel to fight gravity is just way too resource-intensive to ever scale up a true civilization. But if we can drop the cost from thousands of dollars per kilogram down to mere dollars, that changes everything.
And how exactly do we pull that off? The space elevator. Imagine a physical tether stretching from the surface of the Earth straight up to geostationary orbit. It allows humanity to transition away from explosive, dangerous propulsion into smooth, steady structural transit. And that structural transit is what democratizes access to the cosmos. It turns orbit into a routine destination capable of handling the heavy-duty machinery needed for massive zero-gravity construction. Now, I know, you might be thinking this sounds totally like science fiction, but what moves the space elevator from sci-fi to an active engineering feasibility study right now are these rapid, real-world breakthroughs in advanced material sciences. We're looking at things like carbon nanotubes, graphene ribbons, and boron nitride materials. These incredibly strong, super lightweight materials are the actual physical building blocks that will make the tether a reality.
Let's look at Section 4, orbital real estate. Because once transit is cheap and data is seamless, human habitation naturally follows. Space hotels are going to transition away from being just ultra-luxury novelty experiences for billionaires. They'll become a foundational sector of global tourism, wellness, and corporate retreats. The experiential frontier is fully opening up here. This means orbital real estate will soon host everyday corporate summits and luxury wellness centers, all completely decoupled from Earth's gravity. I mean, imagine a corporate team-building retreat in low Earth orbit.
And finally, Section 5, your off-world strategy.
This brings the entire blueprint right back down to Earth and right back to you. Because if you work in healthcare, hospitality, architecture, or real estate, you need an off-world strategy immediately. Starr lays out a brilliant three-part playbook for forward-thinking leaders wanting a piece of this orbital grid. Shifting your thinking, investing in the supply chain, and preparing for an orbital talent shift. Let's quickly walk through these.
Step 1 is all about cross-industry thinking. You absolutely must stop viewing space as an isolated niche tech sector. Think about industries like hospitality, architecture, healthcare, entertainment. You have to ask yourself, how does my brand's specific customer experience translate to zero gravity? What does a luxury wellness brand do when there is literally no gravity weighing down on their clients' joints?
Step 2 focuses on the supply chain winners, because the real commercial winners in the space economy won't necessarily be the big brands with their names plastered on the hotel doors. The real winners are the supply chain companies engineering the back end, the folks creating the invisible life support loops, the radiation shielding, the lightweight luxury composites for hotel interiors, and critically, orbital waste management systems.
Then there's step 3, the orbital talent pipeline for the 2030s and 2040s. We need to start forecasting for entirely new roles today. We're going to need space hospitality managers, orbital structural engineers, space law experts, and zero-gravity doctors. Frankly, I can only imagine the wild new types of clumsiness a zero-gravity doctor is going to have to treat when everyday tourists start bouncing off the walls of these hotels. So bringing it all together, we arrive at the core futurist takeaway. The evolution from data centers to space elevators to orbital hotels represents the transition of space from being just a destination into a fully functioning ecosystem. Yesterday, we looked up at the stars in wonder. Today, we send our data through them. And tomorrow? Tomorrow, we will literally be checking into them.
So I want to leave you with this question to really ponder. How is your organization preparing for the off-world economy? Is your industry going to be driven by space data, space logistics, or the space lifestyle? The question is clearly no longer if your industry will be impacted, but when. So take this off-world blueprint and start building your cosmic strategy today.